You're telling a story a lot of people live but don't know how to name. Being used by family, then erased when it no longer suits them to acknowledge your sacrifice. The emotional whiplash of giving until it hurts, only to be told you don't fit the image they want to project. You weren't just supporting her financially. You built her foundation. And when the moment came to celebrate that finished product, they acted like you were never part of the blueprint. But you were. You are. That moment, the cursor hovering over rewrite, is where the story shifts. It's not just about cutting ties or stopping support. It's about reclaiming dignity, making sure your silence isn't mistaken for weakness. That line, "If I didn't have a seat at their table, maybe it was time they stopped eating off my plate," hits like a hammer of clarity. That's not bitterness. That's boundary. To answer your unspoken question, you are not wrong. You gave more than most would. And now you're choosing something harder than rage, self-respect. That's not just brave. It's necessary. If you're still hovering over that rewrite button, whether literal or metaphorical, just know this. You are not selfish for choosing yourself now. You are not unkind for pulling back. You are not petty for demanding to be treated like a person, not a bank account. You're done being edited out of your own story. And I think that's the first step toward writing a better chapter. Not for her, but for you. The voice is steady, precise, and deliberate. It never over-explains or sensationalizes. Instead, it trusts the reader to feel the weight of what's unsaid, especially in moments of silence or withheld emotion, like when the character didn't reply or just saved it. 2. Structure and pacing, the time-stamped pacing, AG 1354-2029, gives the story a grounded real-time feel, almost journalistic. It builds a rhythm that mirrors the protagonist's emotional detachment and then gradual reclamation of control. 3. Thematic depth. This isn't just about family or money. It's about boundaries, invisibility, and the cost of self-preservation. The metaphor of cropping out is poignant and lingers. The line, "When the truth makes people uncomfortable, they don't argue it, they just crop it," is brilliant, devastating, and universally recognizable. 4. Emotional honesty. The narrator's inner evolution, from quiet support to quiet strength, is deeply felt. The repeated moments of silence, literal and metaphorical, become a central motif, illustrating a shift from erasure to agency. Suggestions for enhancement. 1. Consider formatting or chapter breaks. While the stream of consciousness works to evoke the immediacy of the protagonist's emotional state, occasional section breaks, especially after major beats, like the blocking, the voicemail, the forged document, could help the reader breathe and process the weight of what just occurred. 2. Clarify the time frame slightly. The story flows chronologically, but some sections skip hours or days without clear transitions. Small cues like later that week or by day 4 could maintain clarity without disrupting the tone. 3. Amplify one moment of vulnerability. The piece powerfully resists melodrama, but you might consider choosing one moment where the narrator lets the mask slip a little further. Perhaps when seeing the cropped-out photo or reading the forged signature, an internal crack, even a single sentence, might land with more impact than a full emotional breakdown. Final thoughts. This reads like a short story crossed with a memoir, full of quiet fury, justified detachment, and a search for dignity when love is conditional. It's not about revenge. It's about recognition. It might even speak to others who've silently carried families only to be dismissed when they dared to set the burden down. If you're considering publishing this, online or in print, it's nearly ready. If it's part of a longer work, it could serve as a standout chapter or narrative pivot, compiling payment logs and digital transfers. Screenshot after screenshot of Valora thanking mom and dad for their endless support on social media. The facade was cracking, And now, I had the paperwork to prove it. "You don't have to yell to be dangerous," I murmured. "You just have to have documentation." That night, I sat down at the kitchen table, opened my phone, and called my mother. She picked up fast, too fast. "Zaday? Mom, I need you to tell Valora to stop using my name." A pause. "She's under a lot of pressure. She didn't mean anything malicious by it." "You realize this is fraud, right? She submitted my financial information without my consent." "She's scared," Mom said, rushing her words. "She just wants to finish school. If you pull away now, you'll ruin everything she's worked for." "She already ruined it," I said evenly. "And now she's dragging me down with her." "Zadeh, be reasonable. You know she's not trying to hurt you." "She forged my name, Mom, on a legal form. Don't pretend this is a misunderstanding." She sighed. "Don't ruin her future over a piece of paper." I ended the call, not out of rage, but clarity. I didn't owe anyone a debate. By sunset, I'd written a formal notice. Notice of fraudulent authorization, Zadeh Callow. Beneath it, the date of the forgery, a copy of the forged form, a signed statement of disassociation from Valora Quinn's financial account, and supporting records. I sent it to the university's financial aid office and CC'd the compliance department. No drama, no explanations, just truth. Then I sat back, finished a cold cup of tea, and turned off the lights. I wasn't trying to ruin Valora's life. I was just done letting her rewrite mine. I wasn't her villain, but I was going to be her consequence. By the weekend, the silence I'd carefully built cracked. An aunt tagged me in a vague status about loyalty and pride. A cousin posted some cryptic quote about burning bridges no one asked you to cross. Valora had started spinning her version of the story. I wasn't a provider. I was a saboteur, bitter and jealous. I didn't respond. I took screenshots and saved them in a new folder I'd started that morning. Deflection tactics. People like Valora don't own their choices. They just rebrand the fallout. Later, I stopped by the public library to print hard copies of the forged form. I knew her. Knew how messy she'd get the closer she got to being exposed. She didn't fight clean. She fought familiar. Guilt, shame, narrative. While I waited for the printer, my sister Ramona messaged me. "Zadeh, Mom doesn't want me to say anything, but..." "She took out a payday loan, transferred it straight to Valora yesterday. I thought you should know." They would literally go into debt. Before admitting I'd ever helped them, I didn't respond. What was there to say? Later, I sat in a quiet cafe, organizing my notes when I saw him, Dorian. He hadn't noticed me yet. I thought about ducking, but then he looked up. Our eyes met. To his credit, he didn't pretend not to know me. He walked over slowly. "Zadeh," he said. "Dorian." He asked if it was okay to sit. I nodded. "I called the university," he said. "They told me everything." I didn't speak, let him sit in the silence. "She said it was a misunderstanding, that you were overreacting. But after talking to the billing office, reading her old texts, I realized I never really questioned what she told me about you." Still, I said nothing. "You paid for everything," he whispered. "The tuition, bar prep, all of it." He looked down. "You're not the person she described. I'm sorry for believing her." I exhaled. "You deserve to know the truth." "I moved out last night," he said softly. No ask for sympathy, and I didn't offer it. That night I got 3 voicemails in a row. Valora shrieking, "You told him, didn't you? You ruined everything." Mom, "This isn't how family handles things." Aunt Delea, "I never thought you'd bring someone down just to feel important." I listened to all of it, then replayed Valora's. Not because I needed to hear it, but because I wanted to hear her say, "You ruined everything." "No, Valora," I whispered into the dark. "You did that all on your own." I spent the night at the kitchen table. Files spread out like puzzle pieces I'd finally stopped forcing together. No triumph, just stillness. Then I assembled the final step. 3 identical manila envelopes, one for the university's legal office, one for Valora, and one for Mom. Inside, the forged form with the mismatched signature circled in red, a concise cover letter, full financial records, a signed disassociation statement, and a clipped note to Valora. You knew better, and you did it anyway. I delivered the first envelope by hand to the university. No words, just delivery. The other 2 went into a mailbox on my drive home. The air smelled like spring, a mockingbird perched on a wire above, watching. I didn't flinch. Later that day, the university counselor called, "Thank you for your thorough documentation. We're moving forward with a formal review. No further action needed from you at this time." No fanfare, just closure. That night, Valora left another voicemail, her voice raw and broken. "You destroyed me. I hope you're happy." I deleted it. She always thought this was a battle, her image versus my presence. But I never wanted to win. I just wanted peace. She lost, not to me, but to the truth. 2 weeks passed, then a text from Mara. "We're still family. Please call. Valora's in a bad place." I stared at it. No sting, just silence. I didn't reply. Not out of cruelty, out of clarity. That night I wrote a letter. Not to Valora, not to Mom, but to myself. The version that stayed too long. You were never too much. You were just trying too hard in the wrong places. They didn't see you. Not because you were invisible, but because they never looked past what they could use. I folded it and tucked it in my journal. Days later, my neighbor Joe waved me down. "Hey, Zadai, you still work for the Quinns? Their tub's leaking again." I smiled politely. "I only fix what people want to keep working." Then, I drove the long way home through the park. Closure, I realized, doesn't always mean a conversation. Sometimes it means walking away without waiting to be chased. Not everything broken is meant to be repaired, but it can be put down, gently. To you, reading this now, maybe you've been the giver, the fixer, the one who stayed too long. I hope this story gives you permission to reclaim your voice, your time, your peace. Drop a 1 in the comments if it resonated. Tell me where you're watching from. And if it didn't land for you, tell me why. I'm always listening. Until next time, stay kind, stay strong, stay grounded.